Good evening, guys. It's few minutes past 8. I'm trying to get Abbey on. I'm trying to get him to join us. Okay. How you guys coping? How you guys doing? The lockdown, how is it affecting you wherever you are? Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Please, if you can hear me, let me know, please. If you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know. Just drop a message so that I'll be sure the audio is clear. Oh no, what's going on? If you can hear me, let me know so that I'll know the audio is clear. Tonight we want to discuss on the impact. All right, the power is restored. Good evening, Mama T. Thank you for joining. All right. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm trying to get Abbey online. I'm sure he's also having network issues. These are some of the things that we face here. I'm trying to get him online to join us in this conversation. Oh no. Can you hear me? I don't know what's going on. I think the network is terrible tonight. Joy, can you hear me? Joy? Let me know if you can hear me, Joy. Mama T, can you hear me? I need to be sure everybody is hearing me. If Abbey is not coming online, I'm gonna probably add Mr. King Ogoremi. So that we don't waste this time. Hello, Joy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me, please? All right, Mr. Abbey is online. Welcome, Abbey. Welcome. This is great. Yeah, Abbey is online. Okay. I've added him. Waiting for his response. Thank you, ma. I've added him. I'm waiting for his response from his own end so that he can join us. And we have looked at. Wow, what's going on? I think he's having a network issue. I'm very sure. If you are not using MTN in Nigeria, I don't know what you are using.
Did you invite
Hello,
me?
bros.
Yeah, how you doing now?
Yeah, I think Abbey is having network issues. So I've seen him online. I need to end you. If you can help me end the call at your end so that I will add him up.
All right.
Yeah. He has weed at me now. All right, thank you. Whoa, wow, awesome. I'm sure you have a lot of network issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I figured. Wow, how you doing, man?
I'm fine. Are you?
I'm very well. How is the family?
Fine, 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 fine.
And how is this whole lockdown thing on you guys?
Well, what can we do? The government has ordered us to stay at home. We just
Yeah,
have to, play by the rules.
yeah, we have to. We have to. All right, guys. This is Abbey. Abbey is my friend. We went to Unilag together. He's an economist. We graduated a few years, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and he's one of those few guys I really have a lot of respect for because he has a lot of depth when it comes to the subject of economics. And of course, we have had conversations and we have seen him in many ways how he presents his subject matters. So I reached out to him today and I told him I'd like to have him on so that we can discuss on the effect of this COVID-19 and the possible way forward. Abbey, thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's get into it really. We know no doubt from the economic standpoint,
Yeah.
how do you think this whole thing is going to affect the economy? Let's not go to the world economy. Let's look at our own peculiar economy, the Nigerian economy. How do you think this thing is going to affect us?
Well, once again, thank you very much for having me. And I want to welcome all the viewers and other following this tonight. I hope they take home one or two things from this conversation. But to start with, really, we cannot discuss Nigeria in isolation because this is a global phenomenon. Okay.
Yeah.
In December 2019, a cluster of pneumonia case from an unknown virus surfaced in Wuhan, China precisely.
Yeah.
Based on the initial laboratory findings, the disease named coronavirus was described as an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. The disease have since spread all over the world. I was looking at my figures this evening before I come on air. I can authoritatively tell you that the number of cases all over the world is more than 1 million. Okay, and we have more than 90,000. We have more than 90,000 deaths all over the world. So this is really very disturbing. The figures are very alarming. But beyond all the health hazards, human consequences of COVID-19, let's narrow the scope down to the economic effects. Okay.
Yeah.
The Development Agency UNCTAD puts the cost of the outbreak at about $2 trillion US. I don't know if I don't know if you know what that figure means. Okay. Okay. So
crazy.
And this is coming at a time where the two key players, okay, in the global oil feed, that is the Russians and the OPEC cartel, are having issue with cutting output. Okay, so now looking at Nigeria as a country who has predominantly relied on oil for a very long time.
Yeah.
How will this affect us? Okay, that's the question. We know the world economy is on recession for now, but
absolutely, nothing is going on.
Yeah, let's forget about the US, the United Kingdom. Let's come back to Africa. Okay, let's look at Nigeria being the most populous, black nation in the world. Yeah. So presently, Nigeria is really struggling because if I can remember, our benchmark for oil price on the budget that was submitted by the president was on $57.
Okay.
And the world, the price for oil on the world stage now is less than $30.
Yeah, it's dropping.
So you can do the math. Just do $57 minus $30, and then you can begin to read the deficits.
Yeah.
So if you look at the deficit, that means all the projection in terms of revenue, that the federal government or the government of Nigeria is expecting from oil, which, relatively for now still make up 80% of our GDP.
Yeah.
Okay. It means that if we are actually, for instance, expecting 100 million naira from oil, for now, because of the sharp drop in oil price,
Yeah.
we can begin to look at least 50% or 60% cut. After that, then we begin to ask questions on what damage that is going to do to our economy on its own. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if that explain or answered your question on what the effect of COVID-19 could really be on Nigeria economy.
Yeah, he absolutely did answer the question, but you came from the economic, you gave us a lot of economic terms because, of course,
Yeah.
I know. Now, I know there are laymen, there are lay people who would just want to understand from, in terms of production, yeah,
Okay.
in terms of manufacturing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Because at the point now, you are a brand consultant. I'm sure your office is shut down. So
Of course.
even your clients are not even calling you because they know that you're in your house. So all of these things is affecting even the market women. Yeah. So at the point, let's take a look at it from the layman perspective now. Let's bring it out so that anybody who is probably going to watch this video later on will be able to understand when we are talking from the layman perspective and not from these huge economic terms. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, precisely. Well, there are a lot of things to start from, but for some times now, I've been labeled as one of the critics of the present government, and it's very surprising that people are seeing it from that angle. Okay, we should look at the short-term and the long-term benefit.
Yeah.
For heaven's sake, Buhari is not going to remain there for the rest of his life. Okay, he's going to probably spend the remainder of his second tenure, and then he's going to go. Someone else is going to come in. We need to look at government from the point of continuity.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if I'm going to break it down to a layman, understanding, I would start from the recklessness of the Nigerian government, because this very virus started in 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
We saw the event as it unfolded in China. Okay, the number of cases, the number of deaths, and then from there we can take a clue from Italy, the number of cases, number of deaths, Iran as well. So our government did not really or do not really have any excuse as regard why they did not take a very preventive measure before we have the index case. But just as you could expect, Nigerian government, they don't really value the masses. Human life, exactly, the masses. So they could really afford to allow it to come in, and then after then try to look at what they can do. But again, their recklessness have really cost us. Now I was looking at the NCDC statistics this evening. For over 3 weeks now, NCDC have only been able to test 5,000 people. For God's sake, that is less than 5% of Surulere population.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness.
Now, if that is the rate you are going to go, I want to assume on this platform that there are possibility that there might be an extension to this lockdown.
Okay. Of course.
So, but again, I've questioned the aims and objective, behind the lockdown. Other countries are on lockdown because they want to massively test their people. They want to isolate those that are positive from those that are negative. They want to be able to, take those that are positive to isolation centers, give them, good care and what have you, and then possibly fumigate those areas, okay, that they have tested.
Yeah,
If you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay, fumigate it, get it clean so that this virus will not go back to that that environment. But again, what have Nigerians done? I'm going far. Let's look at it from the angle of the conditional fund transfer, okay, to the poorest of the poor in Nigeria.
Yeah.
In 48 hours, the Nigerian government said they have spent or they have disbursed more than 5 billion naira. Again, you ask yourself, who are the people that they disbursed this fund to? Of course, I know that Lagos State, Ogun State, and FCT was on lockdown by the federal government. So I want to believe that if the condition or the social effects of this thing is going to be prioritized, it should be on those states that are on lockdown by federal government, which is FCT, Lagos State, and Ogun State. As I speak, I have not seen any empirical evidence, okay, to show that this conditional fund transfer is being disbursed in Ogun State and Lagos State. Okay, I can tell you that most of the states that I've seen that these this conditional fund transfer are being disbursed, are states that are not even on lockdown by federal government. And what does that tell you? Okay, so it's really a big problem. If you really want to look at it from another angle, you look at what the likes of US, Canada and UK have done to their small and medium scale enterprises, the stimulus packages, $1,000, per family, other food stuff, rent and what have you. You understand what I'm saying? What have Nigerian government, done?
Even some African country, Uganda, for example, we read about their president. Even Ghana here, we saw how these things they took the masses so seriously, and they could make effort. But right here, there's nothing. You cannot say. I have seen images, I have seen videos, I have seen all sorts. You say you are giving people a family. A package to say, okay, you are locked down for 2 weeks, you're not going to work for 2 weeks, you're not going to look for money for 2 weeks, and you're giving them, it's not even up to 4 derricas of rice as a stimulus package.
Kachi, I must confess, those areas are gray area, and you shouldn't just go there, honestly speaking. Honestly, because it's obvious to everybody. It's crystal clear that this government have really failed the Nigerian populace in all ramifications. Okay,
in all, yeah.
Look at what is happening in terms of the fight against insurgency. Boko Haram members have been arrested, granted amnesty. Proposing of sending them to foreign universities and what have you. What does that tell you? So it's really worrisome. It's worrisome.
It is. I wanted to ask you, because in times like this, there are a lot of donations going on. Individuals are donating, corporate bodies are donating billions of naira. And 2 days ago, or yesterday, we heard of the fire outbreak in the office. You're in Nigeria, I'm in Nigeria. Typically, what comes to mind? What came to your mind the moment you had that news? Just
I know you have the answer to this question, but obviously you just want to seek my opinion and I'm not the kind of people who hide. I give my opinion the way I feel it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I want to believe that there are some elements, probably in the humanitarian ministry, or probably in the accountant general office, who are willing to cover their mess. That's probably, and it has become a norm, in Nigeria, that when people feel that the government is about to get hold of their misdeed, the only thing they know how to do is to set fires on
Fire.
fire. Very, very
Oh my
unfortunate.
goodness.
Very, very unfortunate.
It's crazy. I had that news and I felt very bad. I felt very bad for my country. I'm looking at my children, my unborn children. I'm looking at the future. So if there's a problem, if there's an issue, the best way for me to solve for me as a person to probably cover up stuff is to put a whole building, is to set fire on a whole building, all because you want to cover a mess. These are many things that I have looked at on a personal basis, and I say to myself, as much as I'm a patriotic Nigerian, as much as I want to contribute my quota to transforming Nigeria the best to join us on this course of national transformation, the best little ways, so that we don't become like those people who just talk and they don't take steps. One other question I wanted to ask you.
Before you ask your question, I would also like to point out that in this this period of rubber stamp National Assembly, where you have majority of APC member in both the red and green chamber, and it's quite unbelievable that because the leader of the House of Rep and the Senate were asking questions about how 500 billion naira that is budgeted for this safety net, social safety net, is being spent just a day after questioning the federal government on how they were able to spend 2 trillion naira in 4 years. And the next thing you could, before you close your eye, the next thing that could happen is, for some certain, bad elements in Nigerian government to feel that the only way that they could cover up their mess is to set, a government parastatal, a government agency office on fire. Is really quite unfortunate,
It is.
Very, very unfortunate, and it's unbelievable, and then the most, painful part of it is that you see some people still come online, on various platforms to defend, these vultures. It's really worrisome. I'm beginning to think that our government is just a function of our society. Okay, they are just a manifestation of who really Nigerians are. Okay,
Yeah.
without few exceptions.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree. There's this thing about data collection. Yeah. I was having a thought on this whole stimulus thing. I saw Cecil, by the way. It stays very close to me, and I was having a conversation with him around all this craziness. He's a banker, and I was asking him, if we say, for example, we have a lot of billions of naira that has been donated to this COVID-19 issue. I was asking, is there a possibility of saying that you could credit people's account? I want to hear your perspective on this. You know why? Because somebody was saying it is easier for them to get our phone numbers, but we have a BVN. So even if you have like 4, 5, 10 accounts, you only have one BVN. You understand? I was discussing with a friend of mine in Canada, and he's a programmer, and he told me that they can actually program it in such a way that it's just a command. Yeah. So if you have all of how many are we in Nigeria? Of course, we don't know exact number. They say between 180 million and 200 million people.
200 million, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the statistics that they give. And I looked at it that is there a possibility for that? Is it in any way going to affect the economy, knowing that from the donation of funds that people have, because at the end of the day, what a lot of us think is embezzlement is definitely going to go on. A lot of people are going to make money now, stealing, and thinking that they are contributing to the society, thinking that they are making impact. So what is your take on this issue of disbursing funds? Because we saw a report that said they have spent about, I don't know how true that report is, they have spent about 5 billion naira sending us SMSs. And I'm wondering what kind of...
Well, with all sense of, with all sense, I want you to disregard that rumor that millions of naira have been spent on dissemination of information by NCDC. I want to believe that is fake news. But having said that, the truth is, I personally would have appreciated if these individuals, okay, at least most of them have their foundations, okay, if they have, channeled this money through their foundation, I want to believe that money will have gotten, to the poorest of the poor, really.
100%, 100%.
Exactly. And the Nigerian, those Nigerians who really need this. But, giving the money, giving billions of naira to Nigerian government, it's predictable, where that money will go to. But again, I don't blame those individuals. Everybody want to be on the side of the government,
You see, you just got out that word from my mouth, because a lot of times people give. The reason why they are doing this is so that they'll be on the side of the government. They want people to see their faces like, okay, they are. But on a personal basis, I feel that if you make, okay, for example, our foundation, for example, we have widows that we cater for example. So before the lockdown, what we did was, we reached out to them. There are widows that we place on a monthly stipend. Yeah. Okay. So we reached out to all of them. We bought them stuff to say, okay, for these 2 weeks that you guys are going to be at home, take this one. That is what we can do. If we had more, we would have done more. But God sees our heart and knows that we did according to. So if all this foundation could say, let me reach out to the people like on a personal basis, rather than giving all this money to the government. And at the end of the day, we know that this money are not going to get to the people who are supposedly supposed to get this money. It is heartbreaking for me. It is annoying for me. And I feel that things should be better. But what can we say? We keep talking and we keep hoping that someday it's
honestly, I was speaking with a friend today, and there were a series of videos, on Twitter, on Instagram, where some, well-to-do Nigerians, took food to the street, and some Nigerians, where some are being aggressive, some were beaten up, and what have you. And I told my friend, look, yes, desperate time with desperate measures.
Measures, yeah.
I understand the feelings of, these people, but the truth is, if you really want to do this thing the way it should be done, we have police on the road, they are on patrol, you have military personnel. You can take about 4 or 5 of them, okay? Take them to the wood, okay? Let them, because I know sometimes Nigerians can be very stubborn, one of the language they understand, is the language of gun. So once they see these guys, fully armed, I'm sure they will not misbehave. And then, you can easily, distribute whatever it is that you want to distribute to them. Okay, but again, insecurity, cannot be an excuse for not giving Nigerians what, you need to give them. Because whether you like it or not, if you continue to keep them out of it, insecurity is going to be on the rise. And I don't really, I pray that doesn't happen. I pray we don't get to that end.
Going forward, of course, I was saying to somebody yesterday, earlier today, I had a live chat with our founder, and I was telling him, I said, if this COVID-19 does not humble people, I don't know what else is going to humble people. If this COVID-19 does not make you learn, because right now, no matter how rich you are, you can't travel out. The solution is not there. You understand? So all of us are back here. The rich, everybody's here. So if going forward, what do you think can be done, to avert situations like this? Because, for example, I was watching on TV yesterday, is this yesterday or today, on CNN, and that Wuhan has been opened up. People have started,
absolutely.
they have started going about their businesses and all of that. So to think that this thing came from that side, going forward, what do you think we need to do in terms of taking responsibility? And of course, what will you advise that the government do in terms of averting this kind of issues going forward?
Okay. With all sense of responsibility, I want to say first and foremost that we have a lot of technocrats, in different agency, different parastatal, in different positions in Nigeria. So many of them absolutely know what to do. Okay, it's not really about knowing what to do. It's about having the political will to do what is right for Nigerians. That is what this is all about. Most of these guys that come back here, embezzle our commonwealth and what have you, when they go to other environments, they don't behave the same way. But I don't know, maybe Nigeria, we have been nurtured in a way that, once we get back, to Nigeria, we just feel that. But, having said that, the government, have done something that is quite, applauding. One of them is reducing the price of PMS, under the price modulation system. It's a welcome development. The NNPC group managing director spoke yesterday on Channels Television, if I'm not mistaken. He spoke about complete removal of subsidy. That will also be a welcome development if yes, they can see to the latter. And in the event of all of this, I just hope the government, for once, we consider a complete deregulation of the petroleum industry. Very, very, very vital. So, basically, the Nigerian government essentially must lead economic diversification drive, because COVID-19, as I will put it, should be, the Trojan horse. It should be the Trojan horse in the case of Nigeria. It should be just like you said earlier, that, event that will make, most, elements in Nigerian government to reconsider their stand on corruption and what have you, to let them realize that they really don't have another home. They can call their own. And another thing again is, I'm sure before December 2019, if any of them were asked, if they were asked, the question I'm about to, if they were asked, will there be any, I repeat, any problem that will stop you from taking medical, treatment from, foreign countries? I'm sure many of them, will have said no. But again, a lot of things, can happen, and these things can always be beyond human imagination. Okay, just like, the event of COVID-19. So I want, this to be, a consequence that will further, that will further allow all the elements of government in Nigeria, to see themselves as an economic manager, a policy maker. They must start to prioritize, they must do away with over reliance on oil, because oil is failing Nigeria. They must, pick up, diversification. Most essentially, they must prioritize agricultural, solid mineral, manufacturing, and service sector as well. So that, going forward, even if there will be incidents of, crash in global oil price or what have you, we can easily look inward and then, see how we can cushion the effects.
effect. Yeah. Wow, it's been amazing, really. I'm happy. I'm happy we were able to do this tonight. I'm sure because, of course, you know, in times like this, sitting at home, one has to just get creative as much as we can. Social distancing. I don't know the last time I saw you, you know, but with this now, we've had that conversation. It's not a
Yeah,
WhatsApp
yeah,
conversation now. I could see your face, you could see mine. So I'm sure we're going
absolutely.
to do this again. As much
No
as we can,
problem.
we just need to constantly talk about this thing and also find
Always,
a way to encourage the people.
always
Thank
my
you very
pleasure. Always
much.
my
Thank you very
And
much. I
again,
want to thank you to everyone who joined
one
us
last thing,
tonight.
one last thing before you go.
All
I
right.
if any of them will be seeing this video, I want to, implore the elite of the Echo United group. We
Yeah.
really need, we really need their voice. We need their
Yeah.
support
Yeah, we
because
do.
honestly, as they have seen, recently, we can no longer look away from how Nigeria is being run.
Yeah.
Politics affect every one of us, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
according to Aristotle, okay, every woman by nature is a political animal.
Animal,
Okay, so
absolutely.
we need to start thinking from that angle. We need to
Yeah.
be more critical. We need to ask questions. We need to push our leader to,
Yeah.
that level where they feel that they need to do the right thing
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Abbey. God bless you so much. My regards to your wife and your family.
Thank you.
Send
I
my
will.
love to them. All right. Thank you, everybody who joined us. And we'll be live tomorrow again with Dr. Sally Junaid. She's a health worker and she has made herself available. She's going to also be coming from the medical aspect as we discuss on the issue of COVID-19 and how we can also take responsibility. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Abbey. I'll see you on the next one.
No problem. Always my pleasure. Always my
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you.
Yeah.